Like I love that thing where like the end of the battle is when you get the licensing agreement, you know? Like
Yep.
after you've agreed to license it, you're like, fuck it, I'm done. We win. Who cares what the dub is like? Who cares if we hire shitty fucking voice actors and
They
really
gave us their
horrible
money.
intro songs? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they already gave us their money.
Like, yeah, fuck it, we already have your money. You know? Oh well. Even though I'm not that big of a fan of anime, like the closest I ever came was like having an anime phase when I was like 14. I always really sympathize with the plights of anime fans, and I've sympathized with them for quite some time. And this goes back to what I said about Nintendo. I love that thanks to the internet, we are so interconnected now that they can't get away with it anymore, you know?
Yep.
I really think it's a step in the right direction when a TV executive has to be like, I know we can save a lot of money hiring really shitty voice actors, but if we do that, the fans are just going to watch bootlegged versions online anyway, and they're not going to give us their money at all,
Yep.
right? So like they are forced, like literally forced, kicking and screaming to put effort into their game, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever works, you know. I guess I'm kind of a ends justify the means guy when it comes to basically forcing companies to stop cutting corners. And let's see.
Speaking of decent intros,
Oh god, this is gonna crash. This is gonna, yeah. I'm looking at all the TNT I'm planting, and I'm like, I think just planting this much TNT is causing lag. So
probably.
prepare for insanity.
Speaking of intros, you ever think of doing an intro for Minecraft Awesome is Awesome?
No, not really. My intro for Minecraft Awesome is Awesome is basically, what's up, fans and friends. My name is PDW2KX, and I think Minecraft is awesome. That's basically it for me. I mean, one of the things I like, right, is like when fans of a show do custom stuff, and the creator of that show is like, I like that shit. I'll put it in my official channel, you know. But in terms of actually doing it, I'm not that guy. Honestly, my creative talent, like to each their own. Like, I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying, personally, to me, my big major creative talents is actually writing. It's not like digital editing or computer animation or anything like that. It's basically just writing. So other than that, I'm kind of tapped. My whole process, like the way I learned Vegas, the way I learned Fraps, the way I learned all that stuff was like, just keep hitting things until it comes out a way you feel comfortable with. You know? Just pure trial and error.
That's about how I was when I was first starting with trying to make games and such. Mm-hmm. I actually started out doing sort of very basic programming because I was pretty much my own team at the time. So I would literally go find someone else's code and edit it until it did what I wanted.
You know what's funny? I did the same thing with HTML. That's how I learned HTML. Yes. I found.
That too.
Here's the thing. Have you ever been a pro wrestling fan? Were you ever a pro wrestling fan?
No, not really.
There's this thing called...
I had tons of friends in school that were pro wrestling fans, though.
Okay, here's the thing. There's this thing in pro wrestling called an E-Fed, right?
Okay.
And basically what happens is that a bunch of pro wrestling dorks go onto message boards and basically type out role plays where they pretend to be wrestlers, right? And then the quote-unquote owner of the promotion reads all the role plays, and he has a team of writers, and he's like, this person role played better, so write that this person wins the match, right?
Yeah.
And I had so much fun with that, and I had been a part of them since I was like 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way I learned HTML is some people, including me, would just like type out their role plays, right? But some people would actually, their role plays would just consist of a link. And when you clicked that link, you would have their roleplay would have like images and GIFs, and like it would be all kind of spaced out, weird and cool. And it
Maybe
was called
background music. And...
yeah, it was called a layout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, this is so cool. I want that, right? And so I was like, I want to design that. And this is of course when I was 15. So when I found out the work involved, I was like, fuck that shit. And so I was like, why don't I just fucking steal it, right?
Yep.
And so I did. And I was like, then I basically just start, and I'm talking like hundreds of times, like hours at a time, just going through each and every line of code, and I'm like, I wonder what this shit does. And so I do it, and then I load up the web page, and I'm like, oh shit, now everything's blue, right?
Yep.
So, and that's basically how I learned HTML.
Yeah, I had a much similar experience, except I wasn't doing it for like role plays or anything else like that. Basically, when I was really young, when we first got internet, my parents were really into it. And they were making their own web pages and stuff like that, and they were doing like these little teeny tiny little Java things like, oh, we got fireworks over here, or we got scrolling text along the bottom of the page, that sort of thing.
That blew my mind when I was a kid. Scrolling text and words that were fire. I thought that was the coolest shit ever.
And they had those things in there. They didn't know how they worked or anything. They just literally stole them from other web pages and made edits to them. And then I got in there and I was like...
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
I got in there and I was like, you know what? I think I actually know how this works. So I started doing stuff like making the text bigger and changing the colors and adding all those other cool effects. It eventually got to the point where I was the one making their web pages for them, because I would be doing all the code and then they would just be stealing it off of me.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Oh. Little spot here behind Rosalina's neck. More
Okay, I think if we put any more TNT, this thing is going... I know already for a fact. Just placing
we're crashing
the
this sucker.
TNT, like we're crashing, like we're burning this fucker to the ground. I think we're done. I think, oh god, yeah, we're done. We're done. I guess.
Let's start at the cheap here.
Okay. All right, Bolts. I've honestly had so much fun that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna leave all this in. So, my good friend, any last words?
Uh-oh.
Any last words before we flick that fateful switch?
Okay. For a second I thought it was activating. Well, let's see. Do I have anything in my notes that I forgot to mention? Let's see here. If anybody wants to donate, I could really use sand and wood logs. Already went through the 25% off. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else. Just make sure to contact me on the forums if you want a statue. And if you wish to donate, go to the Cheap shop in Tech Galaxy, because it's got the bigger space until 1.5 hits.